Welcome back to a new day of opportunities, and with that, opportunities for problems, because I think you can understand where we're heading with this, with the truck in the background. There is still something weird with this thing. There is some gremlin in this truck acting up, because yeah, it's easier if I show you. It still has this clipping, whatever, pinging on in the exhaust. I can't understand what the hell it is, and I mean, it has been so much back and forth now, so I can't really remember, but I want to think that it was doing this with the old engine. Now we have changed to another engine, which my father has rebuilt not that long ago, so it hasn't gone a lot. And we have also changed to a carb instead of the injection. We have changed to HEI instead of the injection or ignition system in the truck. We have eliminated everything, and it's still doing this. And I'm not sure, maybe it's something in the engine. I'm not sure what would cause that, but I just don't understand what the hell is causing these issues. And also something else is that it is, I showed you yesterday or whatever it was, that it's slipping very much between second and third, which it didn't do before I swapped to a carb. And also it is not engaging lockup anymore for whatever reason. I have to look into that. So yeah, it's really weird. And also I have a weird issue. I'm gonna see if I can show you here, but if you look at my my charging amp meter, whatever it's called, if I raise the RPM, you can see it starts to flicker. Sometimes it goes down and sometimes it goes up. See if it does that. Now it only wants to go down, but sometimes it goes there, it went up instead. So I don't know what the hell the problem is with this truck. I mean, the alternator is a couple of weeks old. Obviously the old alternator broke. Why? I don't know. But yeah, there is some gremlin still in this truck causing issues, and I don't know what it is. But what I do know is that I don't want to work with it right now. So we're gonna go ahead and work with the Blazer instead. So we're gonna try and finish the motor swap here today, and there is a bunch of small stuff we have to do. We have to remove the headers to put on some V-bands that I have. So when we have the headers off, I'm gonna redo some of the wiring to the starter. Then we can install the headers again, and then we can think about what exhaust we want to build. I'm probably have to buy some exhaust pieces. I haven't really decided how I want to route it and how I want to go about it, but I guess we'll see. We have to hook up the power steering, throttle linkage, and we have to fix the hose here for the radiator. This has a really small what is called fitting here for the radiator hose for some reason. And we can see here on our original hose or whatever that I think that they have squished it down, and over time it has adapted to the shape. So it looks pretty weird, and also it is bad there. So I don't want to use that thing, and I think it will be hard to find a radiator hose with one size here, one size there, and that has the correct shape. So I think I'm gonna do an adapter to a steel sleeve that will take it down to this size and just run a little piece here, just like I did on the lower hose that we had on this engine when it was on the Oldsmobile. I think it looks hideous, but I mean, who cares? As long as it functions. This isn't a show car anyway, and we can look for radiator hose in the future. So that's that. I got some questions about the air cleaner, and I have tried to close the hood, and it feels like it's hitting a little bit. I can get it down to here. So I think if you just go with the regular nut, I think that's going to work. But obviously I don't think that air filter is gonna like life when we go through the mud again. So I got some suggestions that I should put a snorkel on this thing. And obviously that's a great idea, but I think snorkels are really, really ugly, and it doesn't really fit the look that I want on this thing. So I have to think about that. But I also got another idea, which also one of my viewers suggested, and that was to route the intake pipe into the cab and have the air filter inside the cab, like at the glove box or something. And I thought about that, and there are two problems with that. First off, I think it's gonna be quite loud. An intake or an air filter makes more sound than you think, and especially with this supercharger, I think it's gonna be quite loud. And also, if worse comes to worse and we have a nasty backfire, that backfire is gonna go inside the cab, which doesn't really feel all that great. But of course we could build some shielding for it or whatever, but we'll see. For now, we're just gonna run with the regular air cleaner. But yeah, we're not gonna achieve something if we just stand here and talk all day. So let's remove the headers and fix the V-bands. Headers are out, and while they are out, I'm gonna do some work here at the starter, because it's really easy to get to it now. And first off, the feed from the battery going down to the starter is a bit too short. It's almost not reaching. Would have need another 4 inches or so, but I mean, we can't make it longer, I guess. So we have to make a new feed wire. And also we have some other wires there. It is the feed to the rest of the truck, and also the crank wire, and also a third one that is going that way, that I don't know what it is. But it goes in this steel sleeve, which is a good thing, but it doesn't really work with our header and so on. So we're gonna remove that sleeve, tuck the wires in as close as we can, look whatever that wire is. Maybe we can remove it because it's a little bit in the way, or we can just zip tie it out of the way. And yeah, just tidy up here. Maybe gonna do another ground wire or something, but we need to in general tidy up the electrical system. But speaking of the headers, we are going to put on some V-bands here. I bought some, and I mean, I don't have to put V-bands on everything. You have this original style of exhaust clamp, but I really hate these. If they're not leaking, you just tap them like this on a speed bump or something, and it starts leaking, and you're trying to tighten them, and you're just bending these things, and yeah, it's a mess. And these are really easy to take apart, and in my experience, they never leak. So I really like them. They cost a bit, but I think it's worth it. So we're gonna go ahead, remove this flange, weld these on here. Then these can cool down for a bit while we look at the electrical system. V-bands are on, all welded, and as I said, when you get these on a truck later on, you can just start the exhaust, putting a pipe in it, and it's so easy to build back from them. So then we also have to decide what sort of exhaust we want. I had one idea of laziness, just to take it out here, but obviously I really don't like that. And we basically need to exit here, because if we exit out the back, it's easy for the exhaust fumes to get inside the truck again. So we have to figure out something, and also we have to figure out whatever we're doing in this area with mufflers or maybe an X-pipe or something. But we'll get to that. Now I am going to get a longer feed wire to the starter and tidy up some stuff. And then hopefully we can bolt the headers in with gaskets and everything, so that we can continue with something else, maybe radiator hoses. Here we have our new feed wire, and it's plenty long to route it however we want. We'll probably do a new ground also, because this is the same. It's barely reaching, and I don't like it when they are up here. I want them down low where you don't see them as much. And the other thing, I just took it and bent it inwards against starter. I think that's going to work, and I mean, it is a good thing. It's protecting against the heat, and since we're putting on headers, we will have even more heat. So it's a good thing to have. So now I can put on the headers, and I don't know why I always feel it's a big step to having the headers in place, torqued down, and so on. So let's hope we can achieve that pretty easy. Headers are in, bolted down with gaskets, with sealant and everything, so they shouldn't leak. I had to do a little bit of a sleeve here to make it work with this bracket for the power steering pump. Obviously we could have done it in some other way, but this was the easiest one. So everything is tightened down, and these headers actually fit really well, except for one thing. And I'm gonna say I have no idea what these headers are for. I bought it at some swap meet, I can't remember, but I probably paid 50 bucks for them. So what I think is weird is that if we go under here and look at our header, we can see that it's very close to the shifter here, which is pretty bad, I guess. And I mean, no matter what vehicle this engine or a Chevy small block was in and these headers was for, I mean, it was still going to be for a small block with presumably an automatic, and all Chevy automatics has this style of shifter, which would be in this area. So I think it's pretty weird that they routed it here. If it could have been just a little bit more over here, which also couldn't have caused any issue since this is the Chevy setup. I mean, there's nothing that could be here in the way. So yeah, I don't really understand why they did it like they did, but I mean, we could just do a little bit of a bend down and a bend up again, going a little bit inward and downward, and that will probably be good. Other than that, we could take my hydraulic press and try to force it over a bit, but I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to achieve that. But we will think about that, but we're gonna leave that for now. And this header thing is a pretty silly thing because I put headers on everything. I love headers, and I think it's the aesthetics of them, and also they make a great sound. But in all fairness, I don't think that our original exhaust manifolds would have done all that much in removing horsepower from our engine. And I mean, I can't talk. Original exhaust manifolds often work pretty good with sealing and everything. Now mine were pretty bad at the where the manifold meets the exhaust. But I don't know, there's something magical with the headers. They look so cool with all the separate pipes and whatnot. And also, or I think this goes back to this, a bunch of years ago when I can't really remember, but I'm guessing around 12, my dad bought a 65 Impala two-door hardtop that was, it was already in Sweden, but it was newly imported from the US. And it was a runner driver, nothing much, but you could probably just do the brakes and get it registered. But my dad did a full restoration on that thing. But that was the first vehicle that I actually started working on. And I also did my first rust repairs on. So that's a little bit fun. But also that Impala had a set of headers, and it also had the Edelbrock valve covers that I love. I think it's called the Elite series, the old style. They have a new style that I don't like. And I collect those valve covers now on, and I don't know, but there must be something still in my brain with that engine, with the headers, with those valve covers, and I think it's the coolest thing in the world. So yeah, it's weird how stuff like that from your childhood gets imprinted in your brain, just like my dream of having a Challenger with a 4-speed and a pistol grip, just like my father had. So yeah, but you have to have dreams and get stuck on stuff, I guess. But anyway, we're done this far, and since we have fixed the bracket for power steering pump, I thought might as well fix the belt. So we have to remove all of the other belts to put on that, tension that. Then we're gonna change the alternator because it doesn't have the same connector as that one, and that one works, so might as well swap them. And then we can put on that belt, and then we can put on the supercharger belt again. And I got a question from one of my viewers here in Sweden that isn't this belt pretty, I mean, what is the word? In the danger zone, we could call it, from mud or whatever, and to get dirt in it. And first I thought, yeah, that might be the case. But then I was thinking, I mean, all engines have a belt in some way in the front. And it could be a TBI engine that has a serpentine belt for everything. And I mean, I can't really see how you would protect it in any meaningful way. We could do some splash shield under it, but I think that will start carrying more mud than it will prevent it from getting up to here. So I don't think it's gonna be the end of the world, but of course the mud with all of the sand and stones in it wears down stuff. Maybe this bearing could go bad or whatnot, but I mean, what can you do? There's not much to do with that. So I'm gonna run it. If we run into a problem later on, then we can find a solution for it. But anyway, now we're gonna fix all of these belts. All the belts are fixed, fan is on, and everything seems to be lining up and working. We have the old alternator that worked, at least when we removed it, so it should work now also, and I connected it. And power steering should work. I also got all the spark plug wires on. So we're chugging along here and doing great progress. I put on the lower radiator hose. I put on the heater core hoses. And I'm not sure why they did this, but on the later or earlier cars, you had the... Fuck, stay there. On the later... I lost completely here. On the early cars, the return from the heater core went to here, but on some years, whatever, they changed it to return it into the radiator. So we had to remember to cap that, which I will definitely forget and spill water everywhere. And we also have to make this adapter so that we can have the upper radiator hose. And that's the only two things for the cooling system. So we're very close on that. Also, I put in the oil dipstick. So there's not a whole lot left to do. So we're gonna fix the stuff here on the radiator. And also we have to do some vacuum stuff, because it's a 350 on this thing. So we have a vacuum pipe going up there, which needs to be teed onto this thing, I believe. I believe this is manifold vacuum. When we have the supercharger, obviously we don't have a bunch of vacuum ports on the intake. We only have the carb to work with. And also, I forget yesterday that we had this thing open. It goes to the back, also manifold vacuum. And obviously we were drawing a lot of air, which isn't good. So it will run better when we fix that. We need to fix a PCV valve here, and we need to tee this into the brake booster, so that works. And yeah, also one big thing is the throttle linkage. We have this bracket, might work, we'll see. But then we have the kick down cable, which we have to modify into that bracket, I believe. But yeah, we're gonna manage. So let's continue fixing stuff. And then also, when we're done all of that, then we eventually can get to the exhaust. We're doing steady progress here, and I'm sorry if it's just me updating with I have done this, I have done that, and so on, but it's basically just putting stuff back on an engine. It's not really much to talk about in that sense, but that's how some things are. In some cases I can explain more what I'm doing. But anyway, we are very ready, or very close to being ready with the engine swap. I have done some other stuff here. I fixed the wires here. I'm not super happy with how it looks. We can improve it, but now I've done something that I should do more often. I made one big ground down to the engine, one big one down to the frame, and one little weaker one to the body in that sense. So we should have all the ground we need. Most cases I only do one to the engine, and I really need to be better with this. The Chevelle only has to the engine, so we have to redo that. But that's all done. Wiring's all done. I remembered to put a plug there. I have made an adapter pipe here So that's all hooked up. So I haven't filled it up, but the cooling system is basically done. So as I said, we're very close to being able to drive this out of here. I have hooked up the throttle. I cut out the original bracket from the Rochester carb, and that's going to work. But what's not going to work is this kick down bracket here. The wire is a bit too short, so if we put it where it wants to be, it's never going to reach properly. And if we lift it, it's getting pretty tight. So we have to do some sort of bracket or cut this up and attach it to that bracket. And probably now we only have it by one bolt, so technically it can twist. So it should need another anchoring point, and also with this tab welded onto it. But we're out of welding time here for today, so we won't be able to do that. But technically we could drive it out of the garage, but we have one problem for that, and that is our wheel. That is pretty sad looking out here. And I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna take off the tire from the rim, and we're gonna check how bad the rim is, and maybe we can clean that and paint it so that by tomorrow we can reattach the tire and hopefully air it up without any leaks, or at least without any major leaks. So let's get that thing off the bead. We got the rim here, and it's not actually as bad as I thought it would be. I have put tires on rims like this without it leaking, but I mean, I saw that it was coming bubbles out of here. So obviously I'm gonna take my wire wheel here, clean it, then I'm gonna put some paint on it, a thick coat, so hopefully we can fill out some of this porosity so that it will seal up. Also the valve I know is bad, so that might be a big contributor to the leak. So I think that we will have this all sealed, at least rim wise. We can't say too much about the tire. Maybe we put some tire sealant in it later on and try to run it and get it all over the place in there. We'll see, but I think we can get this to hold air for at least as long as all the other wheels. But I was going to do this today, but I realized I'm running out of time here and have to prepare a little bit, because tomorrow we are going to go and pick up a vehicle, and actually a truck. It's not anything fun or special in any way. It's from my understanding, it's exactly the same thing as my truck. Single cab, short bed, 4-wheel drive, has no engine and trans. It's a parts truck, but there's a bunch of stuff we can take from it. But in best case scenario, we can use the bed, because the bed on my truck is really, really bad. It's not the original bed, and I think they have tried to pull it off another truck without removing all of the bolts. Then I know that they have dropped it, so it is all over the place, and also it is rusty. So I've never seen a reason to fix that bed, and I don't think that the bed we're getting is rust free by any means, but maybe it at least is straight and we can fix it. That's my hope, but we'll see. I'm getting it for free, so whatever. But with that, I'm going to load up some stuff that I'm gonna take to my father's place, so we can take his car and trailer to pick up this truck, because I don't trust my truck enough yet to go out on a mission like that. So there will be a lot of driving tomorrow, and I'll see how much progress we can make here in the garage. But I'm really happy with where we are right now. But it's pretty ironic that it takes one day to swap the engines and get it up and running, but then it's another day just fiddling with stuff all around. And I mean, I could skip some stuff and hurry it up, but I want to try and make it as good as possible. So tomorrow maybe we can try and drive this out of here, but then obviously we have to build an exhaust for it. So we'll see where this week ends up. Also, I have gotten the fan motor for the Chevelle so that we can get the heat working again, because that's really annoying since I've tried to fix it once. So hopefully we can get that worked out maybe before the week's over, I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, and we'll see what update I'll have for you tomorrow.